use this one. Hello, thank you for the warm intro. Yes, so hi everyone, my name is Stan. I work as a product manager in the customer success team in Consensys. However, this talk is not specifically about Consensys. It's more around my thoughts, experience, and lessons learned with user needs, specifically building in Web3. And yeah, this talk is intended for anyone who is building, all the builders, whether you're a developer, whether you're a designer, product person. I hope you can take something from this talk. Cool. So a little bit about me. I started my career in a typical corporate environment. Then I moved to management consulting, and in the last 2.5, 3 years, I've been working in Web3. And I love it. Web3 is great. The level of innovation that I'm seeing compared to my previous job, to the previous jobs, is just great. We are seeing technological strides every year, or depending on where you work, how you define it, probably every quarter. And I love this. I love this about Web3. We have blobs changing the way how we scale Ethereum. We have this new concept of free staking, which we're going to see how it plays out. And we also have Farcaster, which brings a sufficiently decentralized social paradigm shift. And I love this. I love the fact that we're seeing all of those examples of technological shifts. However, oftentimes, in Web3, we're seeing that we start building on top of a technology, we build something that's very exciting, we build something that's very hyped, and oftentimes we forget that at the end of the day we build for users, we build for people, and we want people to actually use our products. And last month, I think, Linea started a campaign to bring more liquidity to the protocol, and they have all those applications and protocols coming into Linea, deploying on Linea. And I was looking around. I was looking around, checking the different protocols, and I saw a protocol which was doing bonds, recently deployed on Linea, and I stumbled upon one of the bonds, and this is what the bond said. It said, oh, that's very cool. Oh, wow. A vibrant ecosystem which combines deflation, user rewards, and buyback mechanics with an yield-bearing multi-vote system that fosters the protocol and the value of their native token. I got lost. I got a little bit lost here. It put a lot of mental effort on me as a user to understand what this means. Had to go to figure it out, to understand. And, I felt a little bit like this. It's something that we have as a meme, but honestly, I really felt it when I saw this. And this is a tweet from Mert. Mert is a founder in the Solana ecosystem. Just ignore the standard obsession with Steve Jobs in the beginning. And he says, I've noticed many founders in crypto conflate product with how can I add new cool features to my product that no one asked for. It's done in a way that overly focuses on the technology and not the user benefit. Like, just because something is modular or parallel doesn't mean anything. You often have to work backwards from a problem or market that you're interested in, not upwards from a tech stack that you like. And I love this tweet. It encapsulates what I said. Oftentimes, we build on top of technologies, we build on top of tech stacks that we like, or we build something because we really enjoy it, or it's very hyped up, and we forget about the user needs. We forget that at the end of the day, we hopefully want users to use our products. And don't get me wrong, Web3 is a complex environment, right? We have, on one hand, technological complexity, and on another hand, we do have those new types of experiences that we see in Web3. We have self-custody of funds, we have governance, and putting those two things together really creates this complex environment. However, regardless of the scenario that we operate in, again, we need to think about the fact that people are using our products, and they're different people, and they want to achieve different things with our products, and they hire our products to do different jobs. So there is this concept around, building a product inside out, right? We can sit on top of a tech stack and build on top of this tech stack or technology or this hyped up new thing, and we can build inside out our product, right? Or we can think about building outside in, considering the circumstances that we're in, considering the market that we're in, considering what problem we're solving, for who we're solving it, and how we're solving it. Oftentimes, however, this is what ends up happening, that we think that the customer needs are really very much pointing to our own needs and what we want to do. Unfortunately, that's not the case in most scenarios. And don't get me wrong, I've been a victim of this trap many times. Before I joined Consensys, I was working for a DAO, and we were building metaverse products. That was back in 2021, and metaverse was all the hype. It was all the rage. We were building metaverse products, and we had a very technologically sound team. The team did EIP 4400, which was the first EIP enabling renting of ERC 721s. We were very hyped up about this. We were aiming to become the Airbnb of the metaverse, right? And as we were building our product, we decided that we want to supercharge our growth. And we said, okay, let's do a referral program. And we created this absolutely complex referral contract, which if you're a metaverse and you want to enable renting, come to us and you can get a piece of the pie. If you know people who want to rent a lot of land, you can come in, get a piece of the pie. If you know whales who want to give their land, again, come in, we can give you a piece of the pie. And we created this. And it was, I remember the day when the tech lead and I, we were sitting in a room and we were super excited that we're launching this contract. And we were like, figured it out, all the technical things, and we were launching this. And I don't know if you can guess, no one used this. Absolutely no one used this. First of all, it was ahead of its time. And second of all, we really failed to recognize user needs. And as we were building this product, we started to figure out what are the different users that are using our product, the different segments of users that are using our product. And I remember I got an email at some point, and it was an email saying, this is, by the way, the model that you get when you want to rent a metaverse land. And I got an email, and the email said, oh, I have this problem with using your product. I have this start date thing. It's grayed out. It says next slot, and the start time is grayed out. And then it says, operator address. I don't know what that means. It says that I am the operator, but I don't know what that means. And then, at the end, it says that you're going to charge me $23, but MetaMask asks me for $40. So what's happening, right? Where is this discrepancy coming from? As most of you can guess, at least the answer to the last question, it was due to gas fees. But coming back to this email that I got, really I recognized that this was something that had to do with this new experience, right? It had to do with the complexity. It's a new experience that we provide to users, renting land in the metaverse. And what I did is that I failed to recognize the fact that we need to educate the user, right, and their needs, and kind of like recognize their needs. Arguably, we can say that this is a fairly complex model especially for a person who's fairly new to this experience. And arguably one of the best experiences that we have in Web3 today is Uniswap, right? And Uniswap has done a very good job of educating the user in this new experience. It's a select token, connect wallet, right? After you do that, next step is to enter an amount. You enter your amount, and only after that, all the information that you need for doing your swap is presented, with the price impact and slippage and so on and so forth, right? So Uniswap, I think, have done a very good job of educating the user along the different steps on how you can use their product. And I recommend this talk by Jeffrey Zhao from Slope. He talks about this and similar concepts related to the topic of this talk. Cool. And I'm coming back to the landing page of the product that I was building. In the email that I got, right, what ended up happening is that I connected with this person. It turned out it was a lady. She was head of strategy of a Web2 company for glasses, for glasses, yeah. And it was 2021, remember, metaverse was all the hype, everyone wanted to be in the metaverse, companies wanted to do activations, and they wanted to do their headquarters, they wanted to deploy their headquarters in the metaverse. So it was this lady, we ended up going on a call, figuring out the rent and everything, and I remember asking her, I said, how did you find my email? It's the first time I'm getting a support email. She's like, oh, I was trying to work out your product, and then I had this problem, and I was looking for a support email. I wanted to send an email to the support. I didn't find the support email, and then I tried to find this chat bubble thingy, which I usually get. I didn't find it, and I ended up going on your blog, and that's where I found your email. I was like, well, that's weird, We do support in our Discord. If you would have come to our Discord, we would have helped you. We have our great community manager who's going to be there to help you out. But, and then she told me that, and I said, oh, light bulb, we need to figure this out. So what I end up doing, you can see this question mark in the bottom right. I end up building this question mark, which opens up and says, need help? Join Discord. And that's a complete and utter failure of recognizing user needs, because if this lady had trouble with navigating this new experience, pretty sure that she would have trouble navigating a hectic Discord, creating a Discord profile, joining the channel, and so on and so forth. And that's very funny, because right now I'm working in the customer success team at Consensys, and we're building products which help people to figure out Web3, right? And the product designer that I work with defined what we're doing in a very interesting way, and I'm using this slide. He says, innovation happens at the blockchain level, and then builders go out and they make a new app, users try to use it, users get confused, and that informs innovation at the blockchain level. And this is really our business. It's where users get confused. And what can I tell you? Business is booming. I mean, users in Web3 get confused left and right. We have a lot of confusion in Web3. So how we're thinking about this is that learning from our experiences and really trying to figure out those user needs, we're doing two things. We're doing one of the things that we're doing is we're trying to understand, based on all the questions that we get in our team, trying to understand what are users struggling with, what are their problems. And the other thing that we're doing is we're talking to people. We're going out, talking to communities, talking to products, talking to protocols, talking to people like you in conferences. So we're trying to understand how they think about support and how they're approaching support as well. So as I said, in our team, we're a product team, we're building products. And one of the things that we figured out based on the questions that we get is that a lot of users struggle with transactions. They're not sure whether their transaction went through, what is their transaction, especially with newer users, right? And the standard experience that you get today is this, which is Ether's linear scan, right? And it's, for new users, it can be fairly complex. I showed this to my girlfriend, and she was like, I don't know what this is. So, it's a fairly complex experience for new users. So we end up building Zero Explain, and Zero Explain is this application which really simplifies transactions and links common problems to the type of transactions that we're seeing. So this is the same transactions in both products. So we figured out this by understanding the types of questions that we're getting. And then the other product that we're building is called VillageDAO. Now, VillageDAO is a fairly new product by Consensys, and VillageDAO tries to enable community support. Essentially, we enable brands like MetaMask to have community experts to do support on their behalf, to enable this community-driven support in Web3. And ever since we launched in last year, we launched with MetaMask. This is how it looks like today for MetaMask. But ever since we launched last year, what we have been doing very, very actively is we're talking to brands, we're talking to protocols, we're talking to products, we're talking to communities, trying to understand how they're thinking about support and how this idea of this community-driven support looks like for them. So we talked to all those people and we found out two things. So first of all, what we found is that this is more or less something standard we see today, and a couple of years ago, if I have to be completely honest with you, what happens when a user gets confused, right? You connect to an app, you get confused, you go back to the homepage, you find the Discord, you verify, you find the channel, and then you ask your question, right? So this is kind of like a standard flow that we're seeing today with support in Web3. And as I said, we found out two things. First of all, by talking to various communities said, today we do have a lot of places where communities live, right? We have Discord, we have Telegram, we have X. You know, we do not need another platform. We don't have to introduce another platform. We don't want to introduce another platform for support, specifically for support. Fair. And then the other thing that we found out is that this can be shortened, or we try to shorten it, right? It's a fairly exhausting, puts a lot of mental effort on users to go and ask their question. So what we end up doing, rather than building our own application, continuing to developing our own application, we said, okay, let's try to answer those needs in a way that has been answered before, that has been done before. And what we're currently doing right now is we are building a pop-up, which has been very well received in Web3, very well recognized as an experience in Web2, and we're bringing that to Web3 within a Web3 way, right? With empowering the community support here. Cool. And yeah, principles for Web3 product design by Ben. This is another talk I recommend, which is related to building in Web3, building products in Web3. He really talks about meeting users where they are. That's what we're trying to do here, meeting users where they are in the DApp. If there's one thing that you should remember from this talk is this image. You know, sometimes user needs are different than all the cool features and the stuff that we want to build on our products. And be mindful of who you're building your product for. Consider what users are trying to achieve with your product. And you know, if your product is complex, do your best to educate them. Thank you. If you want to talk support, I'm here.
So, that was amazing, first of all, I gotta say. And I have so many questions, but I'm gonna let the audience go first. So, feel free to raise raise your hand if you have a question. We have some time for Q&A, so.
Hello, Stanley. What are the benefits of the community-driven support groups compared to, let's say, AI, chatbot shit, and whatever?
Yeah, fair question. Several. So you're absolutely right. We have to recognize the fact that, you know, with LLMs and AI, things are changing, and we can argue that customer support could and might and maybe is one of the industries that we're seeing really changing in a rapid way. However, in our team, working with a lot of support for our various products, we found out that in different cases, people want to talk to a person. They don't want to talk to an LLM, they don't want to talk to a bot, they don't want to talk to anything automated, especially when you're dealing with more sensitive information, like, for example, something happened to your wallet or anything like this. So we have been using a bot in our support flows for some time now. We're thinking about, you know, thinking about LLMs, of course, but from what we're seeing and observing is that there's always going to be a need for a human touch when it comes to sensitive topics in support. And so that's one thing. And then the other thing is that community is something that really differentiates Web3 from Web2, right? We have those communities that are thriving, living together, and we are trying to enable this this community love in the industry of support, because we're seeing this happening today. Regardless, right? We're seeing this happening in Discord. We're seeing this happening in Reddit, Quora. It's not a new concept. We are putting some structure to this new concept where if you have people who are very involved with your product, you can reward them for doing what they already are doing. Hope this answers your question.
Yes, we have one more question.
Yeah, thanks. Great presentation. So my thoughts are that basically the UX issues are not really technical, like account abstraction and all the new technical stuff, but more like how do we actually convey what we are doing, as you presented. So my question would be, for example, when we go to most of the Web3 landing pages, we get like a soup of technical terms. And my question would be, how do we go about teaching not the users, but the founders, who are, I guess, mostly engineers, how do we teach them to speak like plain human language to convey better and not just to put emphasis on the technology, but on the actual product? I guess attending this presentation is one way, but just wanted to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Good question. This is essentially one of the reasons why I wanted to do this kind of talk, because you're absolutely right. You go to a landing page and you get a little bit confused, especially if you're not that technical, which puts a barrier for a lot of new people to come in. How do we educate founders to do that? Yes, talks like this, one of the things. The other thing is really, I think talking to people is a really strong way, and a very efficient way to understand how your product is doing. In one of the talks that I recommended, it says that your product is good and you're meeting user needs if your usability interviews are boring. Essentially, if you give your product to someone to test it out and you do a usability interview, essentially, which is just sitting with someone, giving them their laptop, your laptop, and just saying, just play around with my product and you observe. If they're boring, it means that the user is achieving everything that you set out for the user to achieve in your product. And I think those kinds of usability interviews and kind of like giving this product to people and observing how they're using it is really powerful to understand where you have friction points in your product. But honestly, it's talking to people. It's trying to understand. It's understanding how they're perceiving your product and how they are using your product and what they're trying to achieve. So talk to people and come to talks like this, I guess, is the answer to your question.
And we have time for one more question, so yes. Oh. Okay, we're gonna make it two, but like real quick. Go ahead, please.
Sorry, I had to. Pop-ups, you know that creator of pop-ups apologize to the world for creating them.
Yeah.
Like, please make a flashing box, make anything but a pop-up. That's like crazy. And from previous question, so analyzing the conversation with the user inside those pop-ups and conversation to the bot could really improve the response of your support team. So yes, feed the bot with all the previous FAQs and everything, but also track and leave the space to ask questions that are not on the menu, and get some insights of what user seeks and asks for, because most of the bots are asking you like a bunch of options and it's neither of them.
Yeah, no, absolutely, you're right. So, good point about the pop-up. I would argue here that although the founder of the creator of the pop-up apologized to the world, we are seeing that pop-ups in Web2 are very well recognized experience for users, right? And when you go to a website and when you see something like this, you instantly know what that is about. I would argue that not a lot of people, or maybe not everyone, knows about Discord, right? So it is I would argue that it's a very well proven, I would say, experience in Web2 specifically for support, So that's one thing. And then learning from your users' questions and what you're trying to do, 100%. We are thinking about this actually in the product that we're building on how we can enable this ever-changing landscape of our automation flows on how they can adapt to the new needs. And I'll give you an example. We release a new feature or something, we release a new feature in MetaMask, and then we have a flock of questions related to that, and we don't have anything prepared, right? This could happen, or any other example where something new happens and we don't have. So we're thinking about this on how we can enable, and I think, to be quite fair, LLMs here have a very they're very well positioned to help out customer support teams with such types of flows. However, there is I just want to add here, and then I'll end on that there is this level of traffic that you need to have in order for those to be sufficiently, for them to be sufficient. If you're getting a few tickets a day, this is not something that probably worth your time investing in, right? I hope that answers the question.
We have time for one quick question.
Check. Oh, okay. Thanks for the talk. I have a really quick one. Do you treat education of Web2 and Web3 users differently? If the answer is yes, just some details on that. Thank you.
Web2 and Web3.
The users who come from Web2 and who come to Web3 to your products. New users from Web2 and new users from Web3, different cohorts.
Yeah, I think no, that's fair. It's important to recognize the fact that if you're coming from a Web3 background, you might get a little bit frustrated if you're being, informed on, oh, this is your wallet, and then you need to remember your seed phrase and stuff like this. Although everyone needs to remember their seed phrase, I'm not saying that's not important, but it is true that there is this different level of understanding of the concept and the environment when it comes to people who come from Web3 and people who come from Web2. I think today there's very few products that are recognizing this, and I feel like most of the industry is treating education as a general thing, where, oh, we need to educate our users, let's try to educate the users in the same way. So that's something that probably people should think about, so that's a very good question. But today, we do have a separation between Web2 and Web3 users. For example, I can give you MetaMask Learn is a great resource for absolutely new people to Web3 who can understand what is a wallet, how to set up your wallet, how to do a transaction, so on and so forth. So we do have a little bit of a differentiation, but definitely this is something that needs to be worked on.
Give it up for Stan.
Thank you.